Welcome back to Philip's Hot Rod Garage. And don't go anywhere in a hurry because we still working on an old rusty Model A and there's plenty of work to do. All right guys, well I'm really not in the bodywork stage yet on this old Model A, but I do want to do a little bit to this tank before I call it done. I've got it sandblasted and I've got it cleaned. I've got the epoxy primer put on this thing. But what I want to do now is I want to fill in some of these rust pits. They're clean, they've been blasted. There's no rust down in the pits at all. All that's in these rust pits is epoxy primer. I just don't want to leave these pits exposed. They're going to get dirty down in there. They're going to be hard to clean out later down the road. And I've got a 7-day window on this epoxy that I can apply body filler and get good adhesion down in these pits. So it has not been 7 days since I primed it. So I'm going to go ahead right now, fill in some of these pits, be done with this so I can turn around and put another smooth coat of epoxy on this. All right guys, I'm using a product here called Rage Ultra. It's some really good body filler. Now a lot of your body fillers on the market are designed to go directly over bare metal and are not designed or recommended to be used over primers or over factory paint. Rage Ultra is designed to go over the top of paint or primer. So that's why I chose it. Plus this stuff sands really well. It's a really smooth filler. Definitely not the cheap stuff. This is good stuff, so this is what we're going to use. You want to stir this stuff up real good. You got to push pretty hard on it. Work it pretty good to get it down in those pits. All right, well, some of the pits are kind of hard to see. I'm trying to get as many of them as I can. It got hard. All right, that's set up on me. Time to mix a little more. Don't need a whole lot this time. Just a little bit. Don't need much hardener at all. Very little. Probably way more than I need. All right, well that looks like a mess, but it's really not. I didn't want a heavy buildup of filler. I just wanted enough to fill in the voids, fill in the pits. You can see here where I just wiped it firmly down in there, filled them in. Now I'm gonna sand all that flat, get it ready for another coat of epoxy. All right, so for the most part, all the rust pits are gone. If I missed any, it was just one or two, maybe little minor ones. So probably the only thing I'm gonna do now is a little bit of waviness right in here from where I filled in that fuel filler. So I'm probably gonna go ahead and just put a little filler over this area right here, just to work some of that out before I put the next coat of primer on. I might as well, I already got the body filler out, I'm already doing it, so I might as well just go ahead and put a little bit right there. All right, guys, so the filler's on. I just got to give it some dry time now so I can sand it down. Now, you'll notice I got quite a large area here. I know I started with just a small hole here, about a 2-inch diameter hole or so, that I welded up the fuel filler, and then I had some holes here that I welded up. But guys, when you start welding on this, you start welding here and you start welding here, metal starts moving all around the surrounding areas. There's no way to stop it. When that metal starts shrinking and it starts drawing up and you start hammering and dollying, trying to get all that shrinkage back out, if you don't have some pretty nice equipment, planishing hammers and all that sort of thing, you know, just using a regular hammer and dolly doing body work the old school way, you're not going to get it 100% perfect. So what you got to do is you got to move your filler out past your area where you did your metal work so that you can blend all that in real well. It's not bad, it's not extremely wavy, it's nothing unacceptable. It's just the natural process of doing this type of work. There's gonna be a little bit of waviness that you gotta work out. Now I could have probably worked out this area right here and right here by themselves and then come back with some high build primer and blocked it several times, but it's faster just to go ahead in the very beginning, put body filler out past where you're gonna be working at, go ahead and blend all that in. Then when you come down to your high build primer stage, it's easy work from that point on. So that's how I do my body work. I just go on ahead and go out past it. That way I can blend it on in and be done with it the first time. And then I don't have to come back and prime and block over and over again to try to get all those waves out. It's just easier for me to do it like this and a whole lot faster. right, so I worked it down a little bit with a DA with some 80 grit just to get the major high areas off. Try to find my low spots. So I got it feeling pretty good now, but it's still got to have a lot of work with a block. So now I'm gonna do it the old fashioned way, block it down by hand. All right, so I blocked it down with 80 grit. It is in really good shape now. I'm very satisfied with that. And it looks like a lot of filler. It's not, it's in a large area, but it's not thick at all. Oh yeah, and another question you might have would be, why did I fill in all these pinholes right through here? All these little voids and pinholes that I had, and then come back and put a coat of body filler over the whole thing? Wasn't that a waste of time? Well, actually, that's a good question, and no, it was not a waste of time, and here's the reason why. If I were to just come in here and put a coat over the whole area and leave all those little pinholes, there's a good chance that when I'm wiping that filler in there that it's not going to get down into those pinholes real good. So it would be easy just to put a coat over the whole area and bridge right over the top of some pinholes or some voids and it not get down in there good, and then later on down the road, because there's an air pocket in there, that filler can bubble up right over the top of that pinhole because it's just not stuck. So to go in here and fill all the pinholes in first and end up with a smooth surface to start building your body filler on top of to get your waves and your dents and all fixed is just a better option. You get all the filler down in the pits, get them filled in real good, then you got a good surface to work with. Keeps you from having a lot of voids under your filler where you get air pockets and then your filler begins to bubble up. I've seen it so many times through the years. Cars get painted, they look good, and then all of a sudden, a little bubble. And then when you go back and you start picking that bubble out and you got to go fix it again, you find there's a void in there where some filler, there was like an air pocket. Basically like a pinhole in the filler, but a real big one. And then it just bubbles up. So there's the answer to the question. All right, so I got it looking really good. Got these spots fixed. Now I'm gonna take some 180 grit, just kind of sand a little bit of those 80 grit marks out. You can prime right over 80 grit with epoxy, it's fine. But I like to take just a little bit of the aggressiveness of the 80 grit scratches out. And some of that scratch is still gonna be there, but I like to take some of it out because it's just not so much for the primer to have to fill in. So I'm gonna knock it down on 180 and then it's time to get down to the paint booth. All right, that's it. It's prime time. All right, so this is what we call in the body shop roughed in. We got the major filler work done. We got the first coat of primer on. We got it down now to where it's ready for high build primer and blocking. So as you can see, pretty straight across there. Not a lot of waves in it. We'll get down here where you can see the shine. Use that shine to be able to see how straight that is. Pretty slick, looks really good. So that's good enough for now. All the rest of the work will be done on this when we get it ready to paint. So we're gonna make this whole car look just that nice. Cause I'm not building a rat rod. No way. Not gonna be a rat rod. You see how that tank looks? That's how this car is gonna look. Well, I guess since now I'm done playing in the primer, I reckon it's time to get back on this body. All right, so let's talk about the plan. I had originally planned to just sandblast everything from the B pillars forward, get all this primed so that the cowl section and the sub rails and everything from the B pillars forward was done. That way I could get back on chassis fabrication. But guys, I think I'm making a mistake if I don't go ahead while I got it this far along and get these B pillars ready to start doing fabrication. All right, so let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. See, in the bottom of the B pillar is rusty. That's one of the next areas that I've got to fabricate on. All right, so I got new wood to go in here. Goes right inside here. All right, down here I got some new pieces. They go right up into here, that piece there. I got new screws, got the new pieces for that. Also got some new dovetails. These pieces go right here. And this hole's there. New screws for the dovetails. And I also got some oversized door pins to go in it. So here's what I decided I need to go ahead and do. I need to go ahead and get these B pillars completely ready to start fabricating on. All the way down. I need to get the back side of those clean. That way I can get in here and start fabricating down in there. And the reason for that is I don't want to put this main section right here of the body onto that chassis over there and then turn around and have to take all this back off and do a bunch of sandblasting to get those B pillars ready for fabrication work. So I want to have all the B pillars cleaned and primed now. So the thing to do is to go ahead and take the quarter panels off now. Just get them off, get them out of the way. I don't like but just a little bit of sandblasting having this done. So I got some rivets right here I got to take out. I got a couple of tack welds right down in there off this tubing to cut loose. One to cut loose right here on each side. And then I'll just set this whole rear section of the body. I'll just set it all off. And honestly, I think I can have all that off in about 15 minutes. I don't think it's going to take long at all. So I think if I do that and then go ahead, sandblast the back side of these B pillars now, take that old rotten wood out of there and get it prepped for my new wood to go in. I'll probably go ahead and sandblast the inside of the B pillars as well. Then I can put the new wood in, have the whole structure primed, put the cowl back together, and I can set that rear clip, the rear quarter panels and all that on and off the car as I need to for doing fabrication work. I think that's going to save me a whole lot of time in the end. So I've updated my plan just a little bit. I think it'll be a little bit better on me in the long run. So there you go, guys. I hate to change plans, but I got to keep up forward momentum. I got to keep the project going in the right direction. And I think that's going to be for the better. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video this week on the gas tank. I decided to take a break from some of this metal work, get over here and do something a little bit more interesting, make some progress and make some things happen and make it where you can see how nice this car is going to be. Hopefully you get a good idea from this what this car is going to look like. So guys, if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Click that notification bell so that every time I load up a video, you'll get a notification. Feel free to ask me any questions. Feel free to leave comments. I appreciate every one of you. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're back on taking these quarter panels off, getting a bunch of metal work done. We're making progress. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one.